Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade promises a stylized plunge into a yokai-invested version of Edo period Japan. And for the most part, it delivers just that, like a fever dream painted with ink and blood. With roguelite mechanics, 3 dramatically different protagonists, and an aesthetic straight out of an ancient scroll, it's a game that wants to slice its way into your memory. It doesn't always hit the mark, especially when it comes to polish, but it's hard to deny the soul and effort poured into every frame. You might trip over a few rough edges, but you'll do it while looking cool and fighting a giant crab demon. And honestly, that's a trade-off worth considering. So, without further delay, let's dive right into it. Yasha kicks things off by throwing Japan into chaos and handing you the swords, claws, or bows to do something about it. You'll choose from 3 unique heroes, each with a personal vendetta and very sharp weapons. Shigure, the immortal ninja, is as graceful as she is hungry. Her storyline is surprisingly heartfelt, occasionally hilarious, and deeply rooted in a tragic past. Sarah, the Oni emissary, is a fiery upstart who's out to earn fame and power on her own terms. And Taketora, the monstrous samurai, is a majestic wall of muscle and fur with a giant bow. Each character brings their own flavor to the tale, and their stories aren't just parallel paths. As you play through all 3, you'll start to see how their fates twist and overlap like a beautifully braided demon-slaying rope. Although it isn't perfect, the story is more than serviceable for the game. The full narrative picture doesn't come together until you've seen it from all angles, which makes finishing all 3 arcs genuinely satisfying. Gameplay in Yasha is a lot like slicing your way through an enchanted ink painting. Elegant, messy, and occasionally you'll miss a parry and get whacked in the face by an unsuspecting yokai. Structurally, the game is a roguelite. You clear rooms of enemies, gather loot, and push forward until death smacks you upside the head and politely sends you back to square one, with a few more upgrades and a little less dignity. The standout feature is its trio of distinct protagonists. Shigure is the most technical, wielding a katana and relying on precise parries that, when they work, feel like a scene from a samurai flick. When they don't work though, it's more like a blooper reel. Her playstyle is demanding but highly rewarding for those with quick reflexes and a taste for danger. Sarah is pure chaos in motion. Her twin blades turn her into a tornado of steel and sass. She's fast, flashy, and loves overwhelming enemies with sheer momentum. If you're the kind of player who's hopped up from drinking 3 cups of coffee, Sarah's probably your speed. Then there's Taketora, a hulking tank with a bow, fur, and a samurai code. He's the most beginner-friendly of the trio, perfect for those who enjoy dealing massive damage from afar and have the patience to line up their shots. That said, he might hit like a tank, but he also moves like one. So don't expect any fancy footwork. Positioning is everything, or you'll get mobs very fast. As you progress through each run, you gather soul power that can be used to unlock upgrades and equipment, each of which can significantly alter your playstyle. In addition to standard upgrades like increased health and extra lives, you can also enhance your character's weapons. For instance, Shigure can wield a sword that creates a ring of fire, which inflicts a burn debuff over time. Or choose a different katana that emphasizes delivering a powerful single strike through the parry follow-up mechanic called Mystic Art, which is basically a very flashy anime attack. Throughout the run, you'll also be rewarded with numerous soul orbs. These act as modifiers that change how your weapons behave. For instance, instead of summoning a fire ring with a katana, a different soul orb might convert the ability into a high damage single target burn debuff, ideal for tougher foes like bosses. Since you can carry 2 weapons, each with its own set of soul orbs, there's plenty of room to experiment with different builds and playstyles. Boss fights are a major highlight. They're visually impressive, mechanically varied, and often throw curveballs at you in the form of multi-phase attacks or stage hazards. The crab yokai boss, for instance, makes for an unforgettable impression with its towering size and ocean-spilling theatrics. These encounters feel like set pieces in a mythological action film, equal parts thrilling and ridiculous, in the best way possible. To break up tension, the game gives you yokai-hosted festivals that serve in between hubs for you to rest after each boss encounter. You'll chat with oddly helpful spirits and get some power-ups, before you immediately go back to slicing through the hordes of yokai waiting for you. There's also a cooking system here, where you can find specific ingredients and give it to a certain vendor. He'll cook them into a bowl of ramen that you can purchase, granting you various buffs like increased HP, boosted damage, or reduced charge times. Combat is fast-paced, and when it clicks, it really clicks. But it's not always buttery smooth. The parry system is a great idea in theory. I mean, who doesn't want to stylishly counter a demon's attack and look awesome while doing it? But the reality is, it feels like your character whips the parry more often than it should. Input lag and inconsistency make some parrying unreliable, which is an absolute shame as parrying and doing the flashy follow-up attack is very satisfying. Movement can also feel a bit clunky, particularly when targeting enemies. A lack of a lock-on system means you'll sometimes be swinging at air like you're trying to catch an invisible mosquito. This is especially noticeable with Taketora's range attacks, which can turn into a frustrating game of, will this arrow actually hit anything? To the game's credit, these problems start to fade as you unlock more upgrades and get a better feel for each character's strengths. That said, the clunky bits are harder to ignore in the early stages and can be especially annoying when the pressure's on. A few well-placed patches could easily turn these systems into proper features. Visually, Yasha is a stunner. The game's art direction takes a bold leap into traditional Japanese aesthetics, blending ink washing paint with vivid color and intricate detail. Characters are sharply designed and memorable, and the environments range from serene and mysterious to downright haunting. Taketora alone looks like he walked off the cover of a folktale and into your game. He just looks like a straight-up legend. Every frame is a moving artwork and the game knows it. Unfortunately, the same couldn't be said for the audio. One of the more disappointing aspects of Yasha is its sparse voice acting, a letdown made worse by the fact that the game's marketing proudly showcased a stellar cast, including Yoko Hikasa, Ayana Taketatsu, and Rikiya Koyoma. Sadly, their talents are largely confined to attack grunts and the occasional brief line. The majority of cutscenes happen in near silence, which just makes dramatic moments very underwhelming. The soundtrack itself is decent, matching the mood of various zones, but it lacks standout tracks or memorable themes. It does the job, but it never steals the scene. Given the game's otherwise expressive presentation, the audio feels like a missed opportunity to elevate key emotional and action moments. Yasha: Legends of the Demon Blade is a beautiful, flawed, and endearing earnest action RPG that lands more hits than misses, though when it does, it can be a bit rough. If you're here for highly replayable gameplay, striking visuals, and eccentric characters, the game delivers. That said, it won't be everyone's cup of sake, especially if you're expecting polished, voice-acted cinematics or finely tuned mechanics. With all that in mind, we're giving Yasha: Legends of the Demon Blade a solid 76. But what about you? Have you played Yasha: Legends of the Demon Blade? Any games like Yasha that you want to recommend to us? Tell us in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more video game related content. This has been GameMate, and thanks for watching.